Hello, I'm Matt Guff from House.com, and I'm here with a bunch of great people from Burton Snowboards and one local legend right now, Carter Morgan. What we wanted to do is kind of get some people involved here at the house. Lesley reached out how long ago?
A couple weeks ago.
Like, Guff, we're going to bring a squad to Minnesota. We're going to go to Wisconsin, ride troll, hop around, and see what's going on with the scene here. So I'm really excited that you guys are here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by the shop.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's just kind of go around and just introduce yourselves and let everyone know what you do for and at Burton.
Starting here.
Woo!
This guy.
Pinky's out.
Pink us out.
I'm Alex Andrews, and I work for Burton Snowboards. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. But yeah, I'm like kind of do, I don't know, ambassador stuff, I guess is the word, but more or less work with product, sales, and marketing. Kind of have my hands in all of it.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like I should clap. Like, hey, yay.
Yes, snaps.
Yeah.
Jackson Tupper. So I'm doing creative design for hard goods product, boards and bindings, based in Burlington, working at the flagship.
Yeah.
Jackson makes great art, and he basically helps pick out all the directions of all the graphics on our boards.
Cool. Now, product design too with boots and bindings. Does that mean like on a Burton clutch you have helped influence the
When
old
it comes
air?
when it comes to establishing color palette,
Okay.
any word marks, graphics, finishes, color stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a fun job because when I look at one thing that I notice about Burton a lot is that the color palettes are really nice, whether it be in hard goods or in soft goods. So, good job.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Kind of learning.
Like that red cartel this year.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
it's hot. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm Lesley Betts.
Yeah. Woo!
You always do this to me.
Sorry.
And I'm the senior product manager for our snowboard category at Burton. I have the great opportunity to work with all of these guys as far as product development goes, and I'm just stoked to be here, and I'm waiting for
Boom! There it
Got
is.
high five.
There it is. Lesley and I, we met, I think, at SAA.
No, I think it was at the Bash 4 years ago.
Was it? I thought it was before that because I was shooting videos with Gabby Vertelli when you guys released the Salt and Pepper board.
Oh God, that was a long. That was like 6 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
That was
So
a
I
great
think that's maybe
Yeah.
when it was.
I was there.
Yeah, long time.
Sorry,
maybe it was
I
the
blanked
Bash.
that out. Maybe
it was
I
the
blanked
Bash.
that
Yeah, I was drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
The
much.
Bash and SIA.
Both.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a fun role. A senior product manager.
Yes.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
The best way I can sum it up is generally, I always say that the product development team or the product management team at Burton, we're kind of like the hub of the wheel.
Okay.
And every one of the little spokes is some different aspect that we have to work with, whether it's our engineers, our sort of product developers, our team writers. We work with the sales team. We work with marketing. We work with our creative team. We work with pretty much everybody just to make sure that the product is coming together and coming alive.
Got it. So everything revolves around you. Right, Maddie, is that right? Is that
I
everything
feel like
revolves?
I feel like I didn't say it exactly that way, but
She was implying.
I always say that when you were like a
hub.
kid and
Right.
the bike wheel had the little things that go up and down on the little spokes. That's like us sending something out to marketing and then we
Right.
get it back and then we send it out
Yeah.
to sales and we
Got
get
it.
it back as
Got
the
it.
wheel
Got
turns.
it.
So we pretty much work with the product from start to finish and see
Right.
it all the way to fruition.
Well, I know it's saying the world revolves around you, but it does revolve around the product, which is the most important thing. Like the consumer, what are you selling? Sure, you're selling a story, you're selling an aesthetic, you're selling a lifestyle, but at the end of the day, you're selling a hard good. You're selling a product, and everything has to revolve around that to make it as good as it is,
Well,
or the best it can be.
you need the product to be able to snowboard. And that's
Yeah.
the lifestyle, that's, the events, all those things
Right.
are circled around the idea that we're actually out there snowboarding and you need the product to do that.
Booyakasha.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I'm Carter Morgan.
Yeah,
I
dude.
ride for Burton Snowboards and the house. And that's about it.
Yeah.
I was just told to step in front of the camera.
Carter has been kind of on a lot of our radars here at the house for 4 seasons. and Dave Downing reached out to me. Like, there's been a lot of people in house that have been like, dude, we gotta get Carter on Burton. We gotta get Carter on Burton. And Downing reached out to me. He's like, yo, do you have a kid? You got a kid around? I was like, oh, I got a kid, and it's Carter. So I wanted to invite him and like hang out all day. So thanks for being here, bud.
Yeah, thanks
and
for
you
having me.
slay. You fucking rip. Bud.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then we got
did I miss
Charles.
your
There we
part?
go. You did. You missed the
Oh,
moment.
that was
There you
good.
go.
That was good.
There we go. Demoted. Then we have lastly, Charles.
Yeah, Charles Suchin. I work with Lesley on the product management team.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about working on the team with Lesley and at Burton?
Probably just being like very involved in the day-to-day snowboard community and culture,
Okay.
and immersing yourself in that and kind of being involved and being able to kind of contribute and give back to that.
Awesome. And you guys have all been riding for, I assume, a long time.
My whole life.
Oh
Yeah,
Years.
my whole life.
Yeah, it's a big part of who I am. First and foremost, snowboarding, and then being able to be a part of Burton and contribute my passion back to that
Yeah.
is a really fun, meaningful thing.
Yeah. Is that a common theme at Burton, whether it be everyone in-house and out, that it is part of your life?
So there's a rule at Burton. It says it on the front doors when you walk in that it says if there's 2 feet of powder, like nobody goes to work. Like everybody's on the mountain. We had an awesome powder day 2 weeks ago. It was a Thursday. And when you got into the lift line at Stowe, our home mountain, everybody in the lift line worked for Burton. And I remember there was 2 kids like in the middle of that group, and they were looking around. They were looking at everybody's product. And they were like, "Do you guys work at Burton?" And somebody said like, "Oh my God, who's watching Burton? Like who's watching the headquarters?" But it was cool to see that that's exactly who we are. Like if it's snowing, if there's an opportunity to be on the mountain, everybody's there, and it's
Bring
really
the
cool to
ride.
feel that and be part of that.
Yeah. Man.
Absolutely.
No, Alex, you said you kind of have a role in product, in team, and in ambassadors, and then in marketing and in sales, right? How does like what you do influence what everyone else here does? And that's a big like question.
Yeah, I don't
sorry.
know. I mean, maybe it's hard because I work with so many other people, a lot of people at Burton. But you mentioned Dave Downing, and Dave basically brought me under his wing after riding for Burton, and then kind of started just like do more kind of analysis of like areas of the country and what's going on. So I travel and work with shops like the house or like more small shops, and I'd give feedback about like what's happening in those areas for like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And then that kind of evolved into building relationships with everyone that outside of like at shops and local communities, and then that turned into like going to demos and like riding with people, finding kids, hooking them up, like
Right.
stuff like that. But then I try to get back to these guys and give them information about what's happening out in the market or what I'm seeing. So yeah.
What do you think is happening right now? There's a lot happening in snowboarding.
Yeah.
There's unique shapes. You guys are leading the way in innovations and step-on products. Like stuff is revolutionizing what's happening in snowboarding. There's some new licensing that's coming out, which is pretty exciting. What is happening, whether it be big mountain stuff or local in the street stuff? What are you seeing that you really like right now?
Like from there's a couple different aspects. If we're talking like a sales aspect or like what's going on in the market, I think that like snowboarding and skiing are both like, I mean the mountains are packed, parking lots are like full. It's
Right.
crazy, especially with the passes that are being offered, Icon and the other one, and but it's like I don't talk about the other one, but it's like it's busy, but I think that products have gotten really good, and I think that it's almost like people don't need to buy the new stuff as much as they used to or
Right.
want to, because
Right.
there's just so much, like, I don't know, like overwhelmingness happen that you're like, oh, I'm good with this board for like 3 years or whatever, and you should, if you're buying something, but
Right.
that's what's like kind of changed, I think, for the business side.
Right.
That's one thing. As far as like riding and kids riding, I mean, it's crazy, but the difference is it's just the platform's so much bigger, and it's so quick that it's hard to like get recognized because it just flies through, you know.
Uh-huh.
But the riding is like obviously progressed, you know, with park snowboarding, rails, you name it. It's just it's an interesting platform now because there's just so much. It's just so easy to put it out there that
Yeah.
the meaning of it maybe isn't the same as like me and you growing up watching snowboard videos burning out the tape,
Over and
you
over.
know?
Yeah.
So that's the difference, you know.
Right.
So I feel like if you're like a kid or whatever, like, and you're trying to come up, it's like you kind of stand out, like really stand out,
Right.
You know.
Roll your beanie up weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like that.
but it's not even just like stand out. It's just like also like luck, you know, or something. Like there's so
Right.
many good kids. It's hard, you know.
Right.
But it's cool to see, you know.
Right.
I mean, I just got done watching X Games, which isn't really my like scene, you know, but it's
Yeah.
really cool to like watch that.
How
you
about
know?
that Danny double line?
Yeah, I mean,
Damn.
and that was like something that I was really stoked on. Is like Danny got third in something where people are doing insane tricks, but he had style
So much
and
style.
really cool tricks. But in my opinion, like those kids probably couldn't do those tricks that he's doing. So there's like this like the
Right.
kids that won, you know, like they
Right.
might be able to do it, but not as good as him, in my
Right.
opinion, you know.
Switch Pop Tart. No, okay. The question is, sorry, I just want to dive into this because this is my favorite thing happening in snowboarding right now. That backside three to switch Pop Tart.
Yeah.
It's technically stale fish, but it's a lean.
It's a lean, yeah. Switch pop
What-
tart lean.
Yeah, switch Pop Tart lean.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean,
Thanks, Danny.
I
for-
texted
thank
him
you.
and told him before that I was like, yeah, like I saw him do it in like a video or something prior. I was
Right.
like, you gotta do that in the run. Like,
Totally. Cool. Thank you.
you know,
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks,
And then
Alex.
Ferguson too. I mean, he didn't
Yeah.
get scored as high, but he was doing like really, really hard stuff that, in my opinion, even though someone's doing like a triple cork, they probably wouldn't be able to do actually like the trick he's doing,
Mhm.
even though it looks like a switch McTwist as high as he was going. Like,
Right.
I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yep. I agree.
But it's cool. Like, I mean, snowboarding's popping. I think it's rad. It's just different than it used to be, and that's okay. It's just a progression, you know, and figuring out, you know, for business where that leads, and you know, we're doing that with Step On, trying to bring more people into it.
Right.
Maybe trying to switch skiers, maybe in the snowboarding, make it easier. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of avenues, but
Step On was a
Right.
really unique case because I think our intentions when we kicked off that project, and that was about 6 years ago, is like, how do we make getting into your bindings easier, you know? And we didn't necessarily know where it was going to lead as far as, you know, you kind of assumed like bringing some skiers over, maybe some more novice riders. And
Yeah.
what was really cool for us was to see what happened when you took the product and you like brought a whole new like creative spin to it. Like we didn't expect that. And same thing at our annual rider roundtables, we shared it with some of the team riders, and just like the excitement that we saw from them was really cool and not necessarily expected on the original project. So
Wow. Now, do you know when you guys are developing products,
Yeah.
do you always start with a question like that? How can we make getting into bindings easier? Is it usually start like that, or is it taking information that Alex and the rest of his team gathers to help create an idea that could innovate a new product, or how does that work?
it could start both ways.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a problem that needs to be solved, and you try to figure out, you know, without immediately jumping to, oh, we already solved that. We already, you know, just buy this. That's the answer. Like really stepping back and trying to empathize with the customer and understand what their actual problem is
Right.
with, or what's, you know, the barrier to how that product's working. And then there is some other stuff that can come from looking at the marketplace and understanding where our challenges are. Like, we had a new board released for women this year called the Yace Air.
Good job.
And it's like sold out everywhere, which is amazing.
Good
But
graphic too. Good graphic
Great
too.
ga-
Hey,
great
hey,
graphic.
hey.
and you know, we did a bunch of analysis and understood that women weren't purchasing at a certain price point. Like after a certain price point, like women aren't coming in, you know, waves to purchase at a certain price point. So we started focusing on a key place, and
Right.
that started with a market analysis. Whereas sometimes we're looking at, you know, the Step On thing is a great example of like what are people struggling with? There was a point prior to Step On, if you Googled like how to get into your snowboard, and this is like coming from somebody who doesn't necessarily understand snowboarding, all the photos are of people sitting down. Like if you looked at the web, if you looked at Google
Wow.
Images, everything was people sitting down, just strapping up their
Bunch
bindings
of
up.
kooks.
And total kooks. And so yeah, that was understanding that there
Wow.
was people out there who had no idea that you could stand to do it, and that there's plenty of people who have issues. We actually, one thing that's been really cool that has come out of Step On is the adaptive market.
Right.
People
Paralympic
who
teams. Yeah.
don't are missing one leg or have issues with their back and they're unable to actually reach down to strap in. So
Right.
Step On has opened up an entire new game when it comes to that. Like Amy Purdy has been
Mm-hmm.
riding it, which has been really cool. We've been
Yep.
working with there's a bunch of Marines who are amputees who we've been
Yep.
working with and just figuring out how we can make the product better for them.
That is incredible.
Just because you don't have legs doesn't mean you shouldn't be out snowboarding.
That's right. Yeah, I've got a buddy, Maya Wheeler, who's the U.S. one of the U.S. Paralympic
know Maya,
coaches.
yeah.
Maya's a great guy.
Great guy.
And he's a Broncos fan.
Duh.
And that's why I put. You see those
No,
Vikings
I see.
helmets?
I
That's
walked in the
why.
room and I understood
Yeah.
what you were doing.
Yeah, I see that. But no, that is great. And even some of the guys who aren't professional athletes, are even adapting some of the product, like the Dig My Quiver Facebook groups. Are you guys familiar with those? I know you are. You are like a champion on those.
It's a great resource when you think about like a bunch of, I mean, I'm kind of pinpointing them, a bunch of grown men sitting around all day talking about
Bunch of
snowboards.
nerds. Yeah.
Like this, it's amazing resource as far as like what they're having issues with, what they're
Right.
stoked about. Like
Right.
it's right there in front of you. It's for free. It's on the internet. So.
Right. It's pretty cool. One thing I think it was Jeremy Allen who kind of adapted his step-on binding to have a little.
He drilled a hole and he
Yeah.
actually took his like Speed Zone lace
Oh.
and fitted up through and he put it in his pant pocket so he can release it there because he had a hip replacement.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yes.
No, what are some questions that you guys are answering right now for the stuff that you're working on?
right now, so we're currently working on 21 product
Yep.
as well as like 22 like research projects.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can tell you all of the
Sure.
things that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Things that are always on our mind are sustainability, how to make product better as far as material choices and
Right.
resources. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with our 2020 goals as a brand.
Yes.
So by the calendar year 2020, which is only 11 months away now, we are targeting having a 20% carbon footprint reduction in all manufacturing.
Incredible.
And so that's a big one that we're looking at. And that the reality is when you make product, you put energy out into the world, and
Right.
it's not necessarily good for the planet. But if we
Right.
can make the best material choices, then we're doing our part to fight global warming.
Right. And even from the mold injected straps all the way to your offices. You guys don't have garbages at your cubicles and desks.
Right.
That's crazy. Every time I throw some away at my desk, I'm like, I actually think about that quite a bit. I'm like, what happens if I didn't have this garbage here? Would I reduce using what I'm using more?
Maybe. I think the other thing is the first of all, you got to get up and walk somewhere to throw something away.
Yeah.
Get your steps in.
Right. Get my steps.
Gotta get your steps
Get my
in.
10.
And by the time you get to the trash area, and in each department at Burton, you have sort of its recycling, compost, and trash.
Right.
So you've walked far enough to be able to make the correct decision.
Right,
It's
you
not
know,
just like a mindless
Right.
put it in there,
Right.
get rid of it. Like you say to yourself, like, this is paper. I should probably recycle it. Like,
Right.
and then we have signs that say like what it is. So if you look at something like some things
Yeah.
are recyclable, some things aren't. Some people
Right.
break them apart and.
You get the dumb guy in the office who always recycles something that shouldn't be recycled. I'm like, guy, no.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's
Sometimes.
me.
That's you.
Yeah, my lady always.
You should hire like a shame person who sits between the two bins. Shame. Every time you
Ring the bell, shame,
Yeah.
follow you back to your desk.
Shame.
Yes.
Yeah. But
yeah.
no, it's good to see. It's good to see that there's a big push and initiative from products to everything that you're doing at your offices too.
Yep. Yeah, I think sustainability,
And not just for like the planet, but for the workers.
Yeah.
In the factories and stuff too.
Right.
for 2020, we removed lacquer from all of our boards.
No lacquer at all.
No lacquer at all. It has a high VOC, which is bad for everybody.
Okay.
So we, to Jackson's point, removing that from the people who are actually building our snowboards, making that environment better for them.
Right. Now, how does that play into making graphic or applying some kind of aesthetic onto a hard good product? Do you have to think of different different ways to kind of tackle the
Absolutely. Oh
objective?
yeah, it was a big challenge.
Very big.
And and yeah, pretty much we had to solve a bunch of problems. You know, when you take the lacquer off, you're taking off the thing that just kind of sealing everything and making it look just like shiny and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you rip that off, you kind of start to notice like, you know, things that maybe show through the graphic that
Like
the
a pen
lacquer was able to. Excuse me.
No, then go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That you like, you know, you can notice little like blemishes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not just this like high gloss, you know, candy coat perfect finish.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Big
solving
challenge.
problems and we've been able to actually solve a lot of those problems in how we're actually developing graphics, not just in the materials that we're using and stuff like that, but also the actual like visual noise of a graphic to kind of like distract you, to kind of like hide certain things that the
Right.
that the lacquer used to be able to perfectly hide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, it's wild how much a graphic plays a part in someone, especially new to snowboarding, in the purchase of their snowboard. You know, like a kid who doesn't understand price points or construction materials designs, they'll look at a board and they'll go, "I want that board." You know, how can retailers and people in manufacturing places and companies, how can we create products that look cool but that is good for that style of rider?
For sure.
Is that possible?
You know, I mean that's honestly
try
like
every
one
day.
of that's kind of one of my goals for like coming out here right now is to understand a very specific like
What looks
customer and like
Right.
rider and
Right.
start to understand, okay, like, you know, what are they riding here? You know, this is obviously a very specific kind of niche in the snowboard culture.
Right. Right.
And understand like what are people riding? Why are they gravitating towards a specific aesthetic when it comes to graphic and board? So
Got it. What do you think? What makes you think a graphic is cool or a product's cool? Like this cartel, best binding in the world. Don't
For
care what
him,
anybody says.
It's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. No, really though. Like when you look at something, you look at a board graphic, you go either that's dope or that's not dope. What for you makes a board look cool?
I don't know. I like the retro thing that's in right now.
Yeah.
A lot of companies doing throwbacks. I like a lot of the retro stuff.
Right.
I'm not really a big fan of bright colors,
Okay.
but just subtle stuff that, you know, some colors flashing, has some cool stuff on it. Yeah.
Right. I always make him wear bright clothes when we go to shoots because he always wears black. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, get rid of the black jacket. Let's go, bud.
Everybody knows you can't wear black when you're taking photos.
I know. Yeah,
Get
we always
lost.
wear. Yeah.
Get lost.
That's all I had for the longest time, just black stuff.
Yeah, ninja man.
but the retro thing too is that's like not just in snowboarding, that's cultural. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
like we're starting to recycle. I mean, always kind of like going back. Everything like 30 years ago,
90s.
every decade is coming back.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of being able to notice trends in the entire culture of just like, you know, youth culture and just
Yeah. Now, how much influence do other industries have in your individual roles? Because there's people like each of you, let's say in sailing or whatever it is. You know, how much do you guys look into other industries and go, oh, maybe we should try that at Burton? Is that something that you've done or?
For me, it's big. I mean, I mountain bike a lot and skateboard and surf, but I feel like mountain biking's like pretty ahead of stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like they're just really the way they're engineering bikes and like everything. It's opened up my eyes to like, oh, like how can we change something? You know, like what if we had like a suspension binding? You know, I know that sounds funny, but like,
Right.
what if it was like made snowboarding kind of? You could go through chop and it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, like,
Right.
maybe it's not for me, but it could be cool, you know. It's just like opens up ideas, you know, like other industries, in my opinion, or also just like aesthetically, like, you know, I'm into right now. I'm like obsessed with surfing, so I'm like, what are they doing? What are they wearing? How are they surfing? You know, like,
Right.
I don't know. It's cool to do that. I feel like.
Yeah, graphics and aesthetics. When I interned for this company called Morphic, it was an outerwear company based out of Minneapolis, and you could like zip in and pull out panels of the clothing to change the color. You could have like a stripe on your sleeve. You could pull a thing off, and it looked like a totally different jacket.
Modular jacket.
What's that?
A modular jacket.
Yeah, a modular jacket.
More.
You know, and like I wonder if that's the thing that could happen in a snowboard. You say you like a graphic, right? And then like what happens if something could change? You could change the graphic of your deck, like
I feel like every year that's one of those things where like we got to come up with that.
right.
But it's a hard challenge, you know,
Right.
to figure out how
Right.
to make a graphic be able to be 100% like replaceable.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I think though it's like one of those things like, at least for me lately though, I've been just like I've been running BOA for the past 3 or 4 years, and I just got a lace boot, and now I'm like I just want laces.
No, you just want laces. Going
Yeah,
back.
it's just because like sometimes I just like the simplicity of things. Like you know, I bought a Burton Dominant from a thrift store. Like I don't know, I wrote it here probably like a month ago.
Awesome.
And I just realized like that board I had it I had it probably like 12 years ago, and it's still a great board. Like it does, like things I don't feel like always need to be like overly thought or overly worked. You know,
Right.
like sometimes they're just good how they are.
I think that
Right.
also goes back to just kind of like going back in time and looking at like what is just timeless, like what's worked, and like going back to basics, not always having to have like the best new flashy technology.
Right. Yeah, we do these things called the vintage sessions here.
Yeah.
And so we invite guys who collect old snowboards to come out and ride their old gear. And one of our film guys, Dan Bjork, I gave him an old custom. I think it was a first year, not custom, a first year balance. And he's like, this is the best board I've ridden in a decade. And he's like, just classic camber, probably triax glass, like simple. You know, and like Alex, what you were saying earlier too is like, do you need to buy a board every single
Yeah,
year?
and that's what I was
Who
kind of
knows?
going
Like,
with that. It circles
I don't
back
know.
to like, you know, I wrote a Burton Dominant. It's like 12, 15 years old or whatever,
Right.
and it's still amazing. Like I don't
Right.
like I could ride that board every day here on Troll, but
Right.
you know, people want new stuff. You want new stuff, but I'm just saying that it's like. I think that's like something in the industry that's changed more. Is like back in the day, it was like I see Jeremy Jones, and I was like, I gotta have that
Yeah.
Right.
board. But now, like,
Right.
I don't necessarily see Travis, and I'm like, I need that board. You know, like it's just changed. It's not because I don't respect the snowboard. It's just like it's just changed a little bit, and that's not for everyone. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people see that. Like, for instance, like, you know, I'll see like Joe riding public, and I'm like, damn, that's sick.
It's a sick board.
It's
Yeah.
a super sick graphic. Like
Right.
they got a cool vibe. Like that's rad. Like I get hyped, you know. But it's just different. Like it's just
Right.
like it used to be. Like no, I have to like have that, you know. And now I feel like you're like people are more content with what they have.
I also think
Right.
people as a whole are looking for quality right now. They're looking for not just like I want to replace this every year. They want
Right.
they want something that's gonna last, and the value and the craftsmanship that goes into it. That's just like a cultural shift that's happening right now. People want to feel like what they got was like solid and premium, and
Right.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it's not a what's next.
You know, it's interesting that you say that too. It's like going to like, let's say a broom. You can buy like a cheap broom at Target, right?
Right.
You know, and you break it and just like shit. Like I would pay more. I'd pay a lot more money for a cool looking quality broom. And
How much are you willing to pay for this quality? I'm just
No,
curious.
no, you know
Market
what?
research. I just want to
Right.
know like
No,
what
that's
you're
great,
in for the
great.
broom.
You know, if I was
Someone's on
if I was
Alibaba
looking
right now.
if I was looking at like a Nimbus 2000,
Oh, sick.
you know,
That Nimbus 2001 though, just like that.
right,
you
it's
put
the
the-
next level.
yeah.
I don't, but really though, like I bet I'd pay probably less than $100, but probably more than 50. I know it sounds weird, like why the hell would I need a $50 broom? But at the same time, it's like a pair of bindings. I still rock. One of the binding I still rock a lot of is a 6-year-old pair of cartels.
Yeah.
I fucking love them. They're simple. They're simple, and there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
How can
That's bad for
manufacturers?
business.
Right. But how can companies still make quality goods, but then continue to grow if everyone's not buying every single year?
I think that's part of the premium and the quality is that you're buying into a brand and what they support and what they do.
Right.
I mean, we always say as far as like what we're doing on a sustainability level. Like when you purchase Burton product, you are giving back to us so that we can continue to make, you know, you don't need to buy a new binding every year. Obviously it works, it's great, you know, it's quality, but what you're supporting is what we're doing as a brand. So I think that that's how you know, make brand fans and get people to come back, whether they're coming back next year or 6 years, you know. So.
What do you guys think are the key points for making or helping customers realize what you're doing is as a good thing? Because, you know, sometimes Burton does get hate for some reason. I don't know why. Because I don't understand. For those of you guys who hate Burton, like, knock it off. Like, you're dumb.
Thanks, Scott.
You know, no, really, like, really. But Burton's cool, but how do you get people to really buy into it? Besides, like, the 2020 initiatives, et cetera, like,
I think,
else?
you know, I understand where people's minds start from the hate thing. You know, it's
The gutter.
it's the big guy, and that's, you know,
Still private.
still privately owned. You know, I think it's our core values of who we are and the
Right.
company culture that we have that I wish more people could see that. We always say that we want to pull back the maple curtain because we're from Vermont, and yeah, no, you got it. And I wish people could see the small things that happen at our doors, like the thing that says, you know, like if there's 2 feet of powder, work's closed, we're going snowboarding. There's dogs running around everywhere. We have, you know, the like trash cans and recyclable, you know, all of that happening. The company culture, Jake and Donna, like. There's so much that we do as a brand that people don't get to see because they just make quick assumptions about, you know.
I also think, and this is something they've been changing over the years, but, you know, Burton in the past has always been very, I think this is the right word, but proprietary. They make things and they want people to only buy that stuff.
Yep.
Does that make sense? You know, like whatever channel, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're starting to kind of realize, like, and for me, I've always said that, like, kind of preach that going around the country is just like, hey, like, we make great products. You don't have to ride a Burton board, but you could have a Burton jacket or a glove or backpack or beanie or whatever, you know, and that's something that I think we're getting better at is not being like, you have to have everything Burton, you know. That's right if you do. It all works great and cohesive with each other, and that's amazing, but, like, you know, I know that in the future we're starting to work with other people to do things, you know, like other boards to have the channel.
Yes.
Not that we have that proprietary, but people think we do.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's the misconception is that people assume that, you know,
There
you
is an
can't put
option.
other brands' bindings on channel boards, which you can, and you know, like I constantly get people saying like you can't put Union on the channel, and you can. And we actually even worked with Union. We found a problem with their disc and how some people were having shifting with their Union discs. And so we called Union and we were like, we found a problem.
Hey guys,
here's our data. We sent them a board. They isolated the exact same problem and they changed the tooling on their discs to make sure that it works.
It's like one of those things, though. It's like
People need to know that.
Yeah,
like,
people need to know that.
It's like skateboarding, you know. I'm not going to buy I'm not going to have an Adidas skateboard, Adidas wheels, Adidas trucks, and not that they make that, but it's just like sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't want all the same company, and I think that's okay. You know?
Sometimes I do feel bad wearing Nike socks with Vans, though. You know, I wear Nike today. But
Okay, good.
Yeah, played it safe.
Now.
Oh, you are! See? But that's okay. And I think sometimes that's kind of cool.
Trivia.
Oh, that's cool. But, you know, with that, though, what's the next step? Like, voicing those concerns, letting people see the true aesthetic of the fabric of what Burton is. Like, for instance, what's the number one thing that draws you guys to Burton besides a paycheck? Like, Charles, what do you love solely? Yeah,
Wait,
I volunteer. I volunteer
Yeah,
here.
no, I
This is, I get a
This is a
discount.
glorified
gear.
internship.
Right.
It's a senior internship. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but really, what's the number one thing for you as an individual that draws you to what makes Burton so great?
Probably the building of like-minded individuals. When you walk in, you know, you can kind of just feel the passion in the building, and can be kind of motivating and inspiring. So when you're at work, you know, it is a job, but you don't have that that feeling in you when you walk in. You're like, oh, here we go. Here's another day. You know, you're not dreading it. It's
Right.
It's exciting to walk into work,
Doing
and
fun, don't we?
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. I think we have a fairly similar culture, with specifically within our marketing department. With that, I appreciate that. What do you think? What do you think Burton's so cool?
I don't know. I just think their gear's like really nice. Like I think the Malavita bindings are one of the nicest bindings out there. Like I'm so serious. Like I know so many people. Like so many of my friends, they were like going out and they'd buy the Malvitas, throw on their smoking board or their Capita or whatever. Like I just think a lot of their gear's really nice quality. I like it.
Yeah, that's simple enough. And a lot of people, like what you were saying earlier, like, yeah, you can take this Reflex Cartel, put it on anything. It's like you're gonna have a good time.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Like, yeah, everybody makes nice gear now.
Yeah.
It's all pretty much the same. But
Right. But like you're right though, like the Malavita, if you fall in love with the product, you can become not only a brand loyalist, but like a product loyalist like this. I get a fucking tattoo if I got these for free for the rest of my life.
Is that
That's a hint.
Are you,
That's a
okay.
hint.
I didn't know
I
it
get a
has a Genesis high back tattoo.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
On his calf.
Right.
Like the actual high back.
Oh,
That's
my
nice.
Pretty gnarly,
Let me tell you.
That is
That's cool.
really gnarly.
No, it is.
No.
Right.
You know it's
I do.
Grasso.
Oh no. Oh, you know what? I did know that. Right.
Yeah, Grasso. That's
Right. No. What is the thing that draws each one of you? What is the thing at Burton that just?
For me personally, I feel like it's the commitment to women's. Whether it's in product development, looking at how women's bodies are anatomically different than men's. It's a commitment to our women's team, events. Like, I feel like in looking at the industry as a whole, we're pretty short on the ladies. There's not as many ladies involved in working in the industry. I know that there is very, very few female product managers that work in our industry. And even in the building, I think at Burton we're about 35% women, which is above the average of participation and industry. So I feel really proud about what we do when it comes to commitment for women and snowboarding.
That is actually really great.
Yeah.
That is, for the couple I've been to Burton twice.
I've seen you there twice. You could have been there a third
Yeah.
time. I don't know your
I
life,
might have been
man.
there. Yeah, might have been there 3 times. But anyway, there's a lot of females working there in every single department.
And I think it stems from Donna. It's super important.
Right.
Obviously, she's our
Right.
fearless leader, and I think just the commitment as a whole, and it goes to things like working with like Kelly and Kimmy and our team writers. Like I think soup to nuts, top to bottom, like we are really focused on what we do and what we provide for women.
Cool. You're up.
My turn.
Follow that.
Number
Jackson.
one thing.
I mean,
That's a tough one to beat.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one to beat,
Sorry.
man.
I make pictures that go on snowboards
That's
that get
pretty cool.
ridden like worldwide and like
Dude.
by some of the coolest pros out there, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a dream. Yeah.
What's the graphic that you are most proud of?
Whoa. It's funny because sometimes my boss and I talk about how we're designing ourselves out of a job because like some of our favorite boards are just the simplest ones that basically have no graphic.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean that's like a personal taste with like for me when I could go to buy a graphic or buy a snowboard or something like that.
Yeah.
Favorite graphic. I might need to get back to you on that one. What if I put my cat on that name dropper right there? That's
Just so
pretty
you,
cool.
You did?
Just
Yeah,
so you
under the
know,
pads. And my face,
if
actually.
your pads
It's on
were
there.
to ever fall off of your name dropper, for anybody who rides a name dropper out there, first of all, we'll replace them, so call Burton Warranty. But second of all, if they were to ever fall, it's got a very, very strong PSA on it, so it's not gonna come off. But you will find Jackson's face
Yep.
under there. You will
Really?
find his cat.
Cat.
Eric Peterson, and then our board manufacturing engineer Matt Diem, who it was really funny because these guys put their faces on there, and he saw the original printout, and he was like, "You guys, what the hell? Why are you putting your faces on here?" And so then when we went to the next round for the top sheets, they put his face on there. It was amazing.
Awesome.
And it took him forever to figure it out. It was great.
See, that's
Don't peel
good.
your pads off of your name droppers. But
Yeah, you won't be warranted if you do that on purpose.
No. But They're under there. They're hiding in there. That's a good
actually
one.
kind of
I'm
fun.
accepting cash for anybody who wants to put
Right.
me to put their pet or their own face on
Right.
the graphic
Hey.
or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Slide in the DMs.
Yeah, at
At
Jackson.
Jackson.Tupper.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll link everyone's Instagram handles below, and if you talk about stuff, links.
Lots of followers.
All the followers.
Yes.
All the followers.
But also a second point to that is definitely like feeling just like super proud to work for somebody like Donna and Jake who, you know, pioneered an industry
Right.
and also are just like committed to not just snowboarding culture and snowboard industry, but just like the planet and just like society, you know,
Right.
pushing, you know, the women's initiative and climate change and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
Like just being pioneers. Yeah.
Jake and Donna must have an incredible amount of personalized influence on everyone at
Little
Burton,
bit.
because I constantly hear when I ask similar questions to that to people who work at Burton, they don't say it's because it's just Burton. They always say Jake and Donna.
Yeah.
It's personalized. Like you are one of many employees across the world who are being influenced by the founders of the company, the people who are like manning the ship. Like
They
They
drop
have
by your
such
desk.
They have such a presence,
Yeah.
you know, in the building, whether
Wow.
it's like, you know,
I like
on
that.
holidays.
They come
like,
through and the pies.
out
They give out
pies,
pies on Thanksgiving,
stuff like
and
that, yeah.
Jake
Yeah.
hands
Small
them
things,
to
yeah.
us all personally, and they,
Right.
you know,
They're personable and yeah, they make you feel like, you know, we're one of them and they're one of us.
yeah,
and they care. Like
they care.
they really do.
Yeah.
They want you know, for Jake, like it's his name on the product, and I feel like it's an honor to make product to your point, Jackson, like somebody who pioneered not just, you know, a brand but a sport. So
Yeah, the whole industry.
yes, we're sitting here.
That's
Thanks.
right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jake.
yeah. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Jake. Thanks for all the beers.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, Alex. Last one.
Oh man, it's hard with all these guys.
You had a lot of time to think about it.
No, but I mean, they said it all. For me, it's a little different. I mean, obviously Jake and Donna, but I mean, for me, it was like just the opportunity. Like I feel like Burton gave me an opportunity when I was young, and I mean, I got to really thank Downing just because he's been my mentor and he's been a good one. You know, he's been with Jake and Donna a long time as well.
Right.
And him like taking me under his wing and kind of challenging me to do something else besides like be a pro snowboarder, you know, learn
Right.
about the industry and gave me that opportunity. It's been, I mean, at the end of the day, like when you think like we sell snowboards or like I'm like that's pretty crazy. Like you know, I have a lot of friends and they work just normal jobs, you know, and
Yeah.
I really do every day like think about that and take it in, you know. So that's really cool. I mean, I'm like snowboard till I'm dead type of guy. So if there's any brand that I want to work for, it's Burton, just because the history with the brand. I work with so many cool people there. You know, there's people like JG who's been with the brand a long time that I just feel so fortunate that I even get to like talk with them on a daily basis.
For sure.
And Doyle, he's another guy who's a binding engineer.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like some iconic people in Burton, but really everyone there, when you go there, I live in Salt Lake, but I still go there and visit, and it's like amazing just to see the company culture and feel a part of it when you're there, you know. But I think it's just like I said, just at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, we like sell snowboards and
Yep.
go snowboarding, and like that's like we should be super grateful for that.
For sure.
Yep.
And Burton's like one of the coolest brands to do it for, you know? They make, like you were saying, they make amazing products. That's why I like working for them. The stuff's really, really good, you know? They really do spend a ton of, sometimes honestly, too much time.
100%.
A little bit like
over
over-engineered sometimes,
Oh man,
you know? So, but it's good, amazing, you know? And it's
Yeah.
cool to see. So yeah, that's, and then on top of what everyone else said, you know? Jake and Donna, the women's initiative is really cool. Really initiative for the chill stuff that they do.
Foundation. Yeah.
You know, and honestly, like for me, like I've had a lot of ideas that are kind of out there, and like they'll give me the opportunity to try them. You know, like be like, yeah, let's try that out. Even like us being here right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, hey,
Right.
like I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Burton. You know, really, and like I'm like, hey, let's bring these guys out here. Let's just check something else out. Like, they're willing to like. I mean, it costs money to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and we
Right.
might get something from it, we might not. You know, and that's really cool. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad you guys are all here. You know,
Wait,
just
what's your what
What-
attracts you to Burton?
what attracts me to Burton?
Yeah.
Besides
we
the
all
cartel,
answered. Yeah.
right?
Besides
yeah.
the cartel.
Besides
Go
the
deeper.
cartel.
Go,
Gosh, that is a big question, isn't it? Like, what is life?
you made us
I
all
know.
answer.
I usually-
asked us
I
the
usually-
same
That's the
question.
thing is I tend to ask questions to people.
But you don't know the answer.
Yeah, that I don't know the answer. I think the thing that drives me to Burton can go back to what you kind of started out saying. It's the product. You know, yes, I enjoy the culture that I see. That you guys are developing, the people that you are. Every I don't think there's one person on Burton I'm like, that guy kind of sucks, or that girl kind of sucks. You know, really. I think the initiatives you have with women's movement, sustainability, is great. The graphics are always awesome. The color palettes in the soft goods, the ingenuity with things like Anon, with the M3, M4, the magnetic stuff, MFI face masks, the step-on bindings. I could go on and on with the different key pieces of technology and small things like, you know, the hammock straps. But I think it all comes back to the products. The products ride so well across any kind, you know, from the Burton Air, you know, no, really from stuff like a board, like a ripcord, a custom binding, and a moto boot, you know, that's great for a certain customer. Even I can get on that and enjoy it.
Yeah.
All the way to, you know, a custom X or something like that. Yeah, every single product is the absolute best it can be for the price point that it resides in. And that's just it. Like, that's just it. That's why the product drives me to like Burton. You know, you guys could all suck.
5 on that.
You know, hey, yeah, you guys could all suck, and I'd still think Burton was rad because the product's good.
Thanks.
But you guys don't suck, so it makes it even better.
Bonus.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you guys being here. You know, taking the time. Thank you for the initiative to get everyone here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Sorry you guys lost your luggage. I'm glad your car started.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
We're
guys
at
don't
the house,
know,
so we're gonna go rate it.
right? We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we need stuff. We're going snowboarding.
Yeah,
so-
let's go. Yeah, it's like negative 20 degrees outside. So we're gonna go ride Highland,
Yeah,
and then go to Zombie,
yeah.
and then the Burton store,
And then Troll tomorrow.
and then Troll and Wild maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be a good time.
We're doing it. We're doing
Everywhere,
the Midwest
yeah.
right.
That's right. We had some good brisket today.
Might
Yeah.
go ice fishing with Jake O.E. That's
You
really
should
good.
go with Jake. He'll catch some hogs.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good for sure. Well, again, thank you guys so much for
Yeah,
being here.
thank
Really
you, Scott.
appreciate it. Of course, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, always leave those below in the comment section. And it's kind of weird where you're like, we're talking, and then all of a sudden it's like drawn out of the conversation into the internet.
back to the TV.
Right, hey.
Talk to the internet.
But really though, leave a comment or question. We'll do our best job to get these guys any of the questions that you may have. Otherwise, I'll just make the answers up. Subscribe to the channel over there. Check out more vids there. And thanks for being awesome. Hopefully I'll see you on snow. Peace.
It's a wrap.
Pinkies out.
That's right.